Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio audio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about police body cam footage. Now, there's a number of channels online, on YouTube and elsewhere, where they have snippets of police body cam and people getting stopped for minor traffic violations and so on. Now, there are all sorts of different racial groups, particularly in the United States. You get the Hispanic and the African American, the white American, and so on. So what's striking, and I mean striking, is that most, not all, but most of the white people comply with the police officers' directives. Stand on a sidewalk, get out of the car, or don't get out of the car, or do this, do that. And a minor traffic violation can sometimes end up with just a warning or just a ticket, or like a speeding ticket or something, and that's the end of it. Off they go, and they pay the fine, and the matter ends there. But this is rarely the case, and I mean rarely the case, with African Americans. They seem to, certainly on the footage that I've reviewed, and I came across 3 or 4 of where the African Americans seem to treat the police directives as lacking in all legitimacy. I don't have to do what you say. If you tell me what to do, that's not legitimate. It's white man's law, it's white man's justice. The police are part of some sort of racial oppression thing. So you're completely illegitimate. I, as a citizen, do not have to do what you say, police officer. In fact, I can do the opposite. And if you try and enforce the law, I can fight with you. I can run away. I can do whatever they want. But your orders, your directives, your mere existence is not legitimate. That seems to be the consistent view taken by African Americans that are, say, pulled over again for what are minor traffic violations. So somebody runs a stop sign, and 2 African Americans at a stop sign, and they just happen to maybe not be watching, and there's a police car directly behind them, or at the other side of the intersection. So they get pulled over, and the officer has to tap on the window, open the window, and they're very reluctant to comply. Finally, they open the window, and the officer says, "Look, I can smell marijuana, or you're obviously high, or you're obviously under the influence of alcohol," or they run a check and find that the car has other issues, like maybe the car's not registered, or the paperwork's not up to date, or the driver's not licensed, or whatever. So now it's still not a major issue at this point. I'm sure there's going to be a fine, and there's going to be other things that are going to happen from this. But the response, and you can almost script this, it's so uniform. The response is, "Why did you pull me over? You only pulled me over because I'm black." So straight away they reach for the race card. They're not prepared to even accept that they've run the stop sign, or maybe their brake light's not working or something like that. They're not prepared to accept that. Straight for the racism. Now, from that point onwards, any directive that the police officer gives, like, "Would you show me your driver's license and registration, or would you step out the car," or this or that, none of it. They won't do any of it. They just refuse point blank to respond to the directives they get. So this escalates. So the police officer, "Look, if you don't get out of the car, I'm going to have to pull you out." And that's assault. You're assaulting me because I'm. So it's again that they extend the racism thing, but simultaneously saying that the police officer's directives, and again their authority, is not legitimate. That overall, any authority that the police officer has, that's vested in them by the law, by the way, any authority they have is illegitimate, and therefore they don't have to. The African Americans being pulled over, they don't have to respond. They don't have to do what you say. If you say get out of the car, I don't have to do it. If you say stand on the sidewalk, I don't have to do that. So, and there are things like, again, you could script it. It's just way too consistent here. The behaviour of the African Americans pulled over is just too consistent to suggest that it's just random behaviour by different people in different parts of the United States, or even in other countries like Britain, for example. So the attitude is defiance and just refusal to comply. You're not legitimate. I have listened to you, and then physical struggles. So you have a situation where it's a screaming African American woman that's shouting all sorts of abuse at the police officers, and she's refusing to. She's going to be arrested, and she's refusing to. This is all over a traffic stop, by the way, that could have been dealt with. Yes, officer. She gets the ticket. That's the end of it. But instead, no. It's now turned into a major drama. With propagandists can use that. How can a simple traffic stop turn into a violent confrontation? It must be those damn fucking fascist, fucking Nazi, fucking cops. Defund the police is the only solution. Now I'll come back to this defund the police thing in a minute, but in every instance in this case, the woman who, I don't know, can't be that old, it's got to be under 30. She refused to comply. We're going to put the cuffs on you. You're under arrest. Refuses to comply. Won't get out of the car. Has to be dragged out of the car. Is getting the cuffs put on. Refuses to put her hands, the hands behind the back to put the cuffs on. Refuses to comply. Struggles violently with the officers. Screams that they're hurting her, and makes out that they're assaulting her, and she, I ain't done nothing. I don't do nothing, and talking sort of the street talk type tone. Finally, they get the cuffs on. Then she starts bawling her eyes out, and again, I didn't do anything. Look what you're doing to me. Look what you've done to me. All this sort of stuff. Very girly there, but. Then the guy's told to wait, and he tries to run off. They catch him, put the cuffs on him, and so on. Again, major drama. Now that one was just running a stop sign. There's a, I mean, they had marijuana, and they were checking for I can smell the dope here, and and other ones they're drunk or under influence of other drugs. They've been doing lines and so on, or they discover unregistered guns. So there are a whole variety of things, but by refusing to accept the legitimacy of the police force and refusing to accept directions that are on body cam, reasonable directions, stand here, get out of the car, or stay in the car, or whatever the directives given by the police are. Now, I'm someone who doesn't have a whole lot of experience interacting with the police, but I have had some, and it's usually been an accident or a misunderstanding or something like that. So it's no big deal. But I'm careful to comply with their directives. Now I'm aware of the Police Powers Act and what would be and the police use, like lawyers do, they use bluff to try and get you to comply and say, well, he complied, it wasn't me, he just did it, and I'm aware of those sort of tactics and so on. And when you're dealing with the police, if you point out, well, if you do that, and I'll make a record of that, then I will require you to appear before a judge in a court of law to show cause for your actions. And that always sobers them up very quickly. But then I haven't committed a crime in the first place. So, but if you get pulled over for something like shooting a stop sign or something like that, just accept. If you've got a problem with it, go to court and fight it there. But there's no point in arguing with the officer, whether you think they're right or not. I remember many years ago, I was going along at a road, and I saw outside of I think it was some a pub or a bar or something. There were a bunch of hooligans that were throwing beer cans at cars going by. I thought, oh, I don't want it. It was a brand new car, and I thought, oh no, I don't want to get a scratch in my new car. So I did a turn. There was no one around, but it was at night. I did a turn, but I hadn't seen that off in the distance there was a police car, and they saw me doing the turn, which just happened to be on some double lines. So a young rookie cop decided that he was an opportunity for a bit of excitement. So he bangs on the sirens and the lights and it comes hurtling and he's chasing me down. And so I'm going down the road and there's this cop car coming at fucking high speed. And then he's because of the other traffic that was now on a main road that I turned onto, he jumped the traffic islands, came in front, pulled the car, did the handbrake turn, in full drama and the whole thing. And I thought, goodness, what's going on here? And I saw you doing that illegal U-turns. So I didn't argue with the guy. I said, okay, right. And I took it to court, and they didn't even bother trying to defend against it. So I walked in, and seconds later walked out again. But anyway, the thing is to just do what. Now I don't know why they don't do this. Now, if you go online and look at the Antifa and the Black Lives Matter and much of the propaganda you see from black prosecutors, George Soros funded DAs, or the entire much of the public service and indeed much of the body politic. This idea of defund the police are institutionally racist. They're just out to get black people for no reason, so on and so on and so forth. This is pushed so hard and through the education system as well, that black people, not unreasonably, African Americans, not unreasonably would say, well, given all this propaganda everywhere, everyone's telling me that the police are illegitimate, that the police are racist, that the police are wrong, that the police are bad, the police are murderers, and blah, 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 blah. And they just run around wanting, murdering black people for the hell of it, all this sort of stuff. And so if you've been plied with that propaganda for years, then you would treat the police as illegitimate. You would treat their instructions as illegitimate, no matter how simple or basic the instructions are, like get out of the car or stand there. I mean, you treat it all as illegitimate. Nothing they say is legitimate. Their mere existence is illegitimate. Their authority is illegitimate. Whatever they represent, the police represent, is illegitimate, and so on. And so, I don't have to take any notice of what they say. And if they arrest me, then that is illegitimate. If they cuff me, that is illegitimate, and so on. And a lot of these people will be out on bail, maybe no bail at all, cashless bail the next day. So it's not a big deal for them to go, hey, who cares? Now, if you're going after a guy who's got a full-time respectable job, he's got a family that rely on his income, he's got a nice house in the burbs with a neatly trimmed lawn and this sort of thing. He's got a lot to lose, that guy. And he doesn't want trouble or drama. He wants to diffuse tension and confrontation. But if you don't have any stake in the future, or very little stake in the future, for whatever reason, maybe you're blowing it all on drugs or something like that. I've hired black people that are prodigious users of drugs, and yet they don't seem to think it's a problem. Why? It makes me feel good. Why can't I do it? So the end result is that through the propaganda and through, I think, purposeful and willful efforts at creating social dislocation and social tension, and making society as ungovernable, as dysfunctional as they possibly can, the African American population have been encouraged to view all police as illegitimate, and all authority is illegitimate. All the laws are illegitimate. It's white man's law. Why do I have to follow that? And that's encouraged and facilitated this attitude, which has, of course, made policing far more difficult, far more confrontational than it needs to be. And when you look at the body cams of not all white people, I mean, some people are, white people are rolling drunk or something like that, and you still get feral white people, but it's interesting looking at the difference in behaviour between the two. The white people going, yes, officer, yes, and thank you, officer, and then the matter's done. It's over. There's no drama. There's no carry on. It's just over. So, but black people are strongly urged. I would say brainwashed to treat the police as illegitimate. This in turn creates confrontation, unnecessary confrontation. In turn increases the arrest rate of black people, which then can be used as propaganda. Look, see, that's racist. White guy gets stopped for shooting the stoplight, and that's it. A black person gets for shooting the stoplight, and they get arrested and handcuffed and so on. That shows how fucking racist the fucking Nazis. That's what they are. But the reality is, the behaviour of the arrestees is vastly different. And the behaviour of the African Americans that they've been encouraged to adopt, and attitudes they've been encouraged to take, is the cause of the problem. And if they've been encouraged to accept the directives of the police, then their lives and the lives of the police and everyone will be much easier. Coming now to the matter of are black people unfairly targeted? Now, having a look at the areas that the African Americans are being pulled over in, whether it's for shooting a stoplight or going through a red light, or it doesn't matter. But minor traffic offences. When you look at the areas that, if you're in a very high crime area where illegal carrying of handguns, where there's a shitload of unregistered vehicles, where there's a shitload of unlicensed drivers, where there's masses of people, because they, a lot of these people don't have any fixed address, so they may have warrants out for their arrest. So, but there's no way you can find them because they could be anywhere, anywhere in the ghettos. So the only way you can really intercept these people who have warrants out for their arrest is if you pull someone over. The chances are that 1 out of every 3 people you pull over will have outstanding warrants in this particular area. It's a high crime area, so if the inclination would be in a high crime area where you get this sort of thing, where 1 in 3 have outstanding warrants against them, is you would pull, if you see a traffic infraction, you would pull people over, look at a license, then check to see if they've got outstanding warrants. Now you see the same in Australia. There was a police officer that I knew where in the nearest major train station or bus terminus near a prison is a constant source of the police have these they say license and rego check pullovers, or they're supposedly doing breath testing and things like that. So they just randomly set up a thing and just pull everyone over and then run a check on them to see, okay, do they have any outstanding warrants, or are they a former criminal, or are they if they out on day release from prison, they've overstayed there, and so on. So they view those areas as choke points or catch points, where they throw out a net, and they, according to this policeman anyway, they catch quite a number of people who are visiting, their criminal buddies in prison, or where they've dropped them off, or they're coming to pick them up. Or so. Apparently, it's a gold mine of very rich vein of ore. They're picking people up for again outstanding warrants for all sorts of things. And it's the same in a high crime area, and whether it be in the United States or anywhere else, your chances of picking up somebody who's got an outstanding warrant is pretty high. So whereas if you were in an affluent white area, your chances of picking up someone with outstanding warrant may be 1 in every 200 people you pull over, whereas in the high crime areas, 1 in every 3 people you pull over. So a vast difference, and you can see the reasoning behind it. It's got nothing to do with racism or anti-blackness or something like that. So we've got a real issue here where there are forces at work that are willfully and deliberately and aggressively, with maximum funding and encouragement from the media and everywhere else, to create social dislocation and social disharmony and particularly racial division, and they're using this this policing thing to do it. As more African Americans commit crimes than white people on a pro rata basis, then that's propaganda. So, well, look, and it's this equity program. Do more people, do people who are paraplegic in wheelchairs, do they win 100-meter sprint races in the Olympic Games? They don't. Well, that proves there's something fucking wrong. That proves it. Are you saying the person in a wheelchair wins the 100-meter sprinting race? Well, there you go. You see, you're fat. And so that's the rationale they apply here. And it's crazy, it's mad, but that's where we're at. You've been with Tassos today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.